From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us on your Friday night. I'm Russ Riesinger. Tonight, the U.S. Supreme Court dealt another blow to President Trump's legal efforts to challenge the election results by rejecting a case brought by the Texas State Attorney General. That lawsuit had the support of more than 100 Republican members of Congress. Earlier, President-elect Joe Biden formally introduced several new cabinet nominees, including some familiar faces from his time as vice president. Natalie Brand is in Wilmington, Delaware with more.
Fresh off their selection as Time Magazine Person of the Year, President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris presented several more cabinet nominees.
It's time to rededicate ourselves to the mission our government agencies were entrusted with, and to the American people. Help is on the way.
The picks include some former Obama administration officials.
I'm honored by the trust that you've placed in me to return.
We're going to fight like hell to give our veterans and their families the health care, respect, and dignity they deserve.
We are here to get hard stuff done.
Also, House Ways and Means Committee trade lawyer Catherine Tai for U.S. Trade Representative.
I look forward to harnessing the power of our trade relationships to help communities lift themselves out of the current crisis.
And Ohio Congresswoman Marcia Fudge for HUD Secretary.
We will help people believe once again that their government cares about them, no matter who they are.
Before the event here in Delaware, Senator Harris went to Capitol Hill for a procedural vote ahead of the Senate's passage of a defense bill and a one-week funding measure to avert a government shutdown. This sets the stage for a funding showdown next week over a government spending bill and COVID relief. At the White House, President Trump referred to a Biden administration in a tweet as a, quote, scandal-plagued mess and called on the Supreme Court to save the USA.
The president's legal team is obviously doing everything they can.
But Friday night, the High Court denied a Texas case in a 7-2 vote, which sought to block electoral votes in 4 battleground states Mr. Biden won. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Earlier this week, Montana Attorney General Tim Fox added Montana to the list of states joining that lawsuit seeking to overturn the Biden win. And Governor-elect and current Congressman Greg Gianforte also came out in support of it. Governor Steve Bullock filed a brief before today's decision asking the U.S. Supreme Court to not hear that case. The U.S. Surgeon General was in Billings today, encouraging people to wear masks and says he expects a COVID vaccine to be given next week. Vice Admiral Jerome Adams made an unscheduled stop in Billings after weather canceled his flight to Poplar. He met with medical people from Billings Clinic, St. Vincent Healthcare, and Riverstone Health. Adams wanted to hear how they are dealing with the pandemic in Billings. He says the quickest way to recovery is wearing a mask, washing hands, and watching distance.
People are fatigued by mitigation, but I want them to know a finish line is in sight. So they should have hope. They should know that if we can do this and get through this immediate surge, then in January, we're going to start turning that dimmer switch on to a brighter day. And if people understand that, then I think that will give them the information, the hope that they need to get through a difficult time and to really stick to the things that we know will ultimately, immediately help save lives and get us to the place that we want to be.
Q2's David Jay will have more with the Surgeon General tonight on the MTN News at 10 on Q2. Well, now that the Pfizer vaccine has passed a critical hurdle with a formal FDA emergency approval, Montana hospitals can put their plans into motion. As COVID-19 cases surge in Billings and hospital beds fill, the vaccine is giving workers hope. Q2's Andrea Lutz has more.
At Billings Clinic, those first initial doses coming in as early as Wednesday.
I think there is the expected wariness about a shot and a vaccine, but for the overall organization at large, it's pretty exciting.
And as empty beds remain scarce and workers are pushed to the max, many are hoping the sight of the vaccine will serve as a much-needed calm in the fight against COVID-19.
Because of the number of patients we're seeing and the overall volume that the hospital is under, the idea of something that could kind of ebb that tide is very exciting.
The hospital's chief medical officer says vaccines are effective, and this one has been through a rigorous path to approval.
This feels very fast because it has been fast, But the standards that they've gone through with the FDA to prove that it's safe and efficacious for patients has been very, very rigorous.
While some at the clinic are still unsure if they'll take the vaccine because it's not a requirement, 75% answered they will in a recent hospital survey of employees.
But we definitely have a lot of people who are wondering when their turn will be. The next question to that is, when is my family going to be eligible?
And after this initial rollout, the hospital then gets estimates on a weekly basis for additional doses.
The hard thing to remember is that it's a limited resource to start with, but being patient over the next couple months that we will get there.
In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Thanks, Andrea. The first round of vaccines will stay in Billings and go to frontline workers. Billings Clinic has been asked to also help first responders get the vaccine as well. As we head into the weekend, Montana health authorities report a dozen more deaths due to COVID-19 related illness. 9 of those victims from Cascade County. Fergus County also reports 2 more deaths. Blaine County 1. Now, these latest deaths bring the statewide total to 831 tonight. The Montana State Capitol is a little emptier this holiday season. State administrators have decided not to put up a holiday tree in the rotunda. For the last 4 years, the State Department of Administration has decorated a large live tree provided by Montana loggers. In a statement, leaders say that they're not doing it this year out of an abundance of caution during COVID-19. They also recently learned having a live tree in the rotunda would be a violation of fire codes. But that does not mean the Capitol will be without decorations. There will be outdoor holiday displays on the east side of Capitol Square. In 2021, Montanans will need to dial 406 when calling any Montana phone number, whether or not you're in the state. The Montana Public Service Commission announced today the change is the result of the FCC approving 988 as the 3-digit number for the National Suicide Lifeline. Along with that change, the FCC also ruled any state with a 988 prefix, Dillon numbers here in Montana, must move to mandatory 10-digit dialing in order to avoid accidental calls to the lifeline. No one will need to change their number, and the mandatory 10-digit dialing will apply to the entire state. The FCC suggests dialing 406 for any local number starting in April, and come October, 7-digit local calling will no longer work. Well, there is plenty new at the Lockwood schools this year, from the brand new high school and football stadium to a new location and a whole new look for the Lockwood Boys and Girls Club. In tonight's Rebound Report, Q2's Jay Cohn shows us how the club is bouncing back in a big way from the pandemic shutdown.
The Boys and Girls Club has been a fixture at the Lockwood schools since 2002, but this year, without a doubt, has been the toughest of all. When the pandemic hit last March, the club closed when the schools did. It wasn't until September that the club reopened. This school year, the Boys and Girls Club moved to the oldest building on the Lockwood campus, featuring way more space, which is so important during this pandemic. And it features way better access for parents who are picking up and dropping off kids. And make no mistake about it, this old school has never looked so good. New flooring to replace the old carpet, a new paint job, new furniture, and expanded hours to accommodate the new split schedule at Lockwood schools. All paid for with CARES Act dollars.
All new flooring in all the spaces, and we've got all new furniture thanks to some of the relief funding that we've been able to secure. We were able to outfit this because, we only had 2 classrooms. Now we've got 6. And we're here 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, which is a big, as you know, is a big change. Right. Because we've always done 2 to 6:30. And to be going 8 to 5 has been quite an adjustment.
Lockwood School Board Chair Tim Sother couldn't be happier with the club's move into the historic building.
It was kind of one of those spur-of-the-moment thoughts as we're moving out of this building. And, we just presented to the Boys and Girls Club and said, hey, would you guys want to do this? And it seemed to be great. I mean, it opens up, kind of gets them out of the middle of our campus over there, gives them their own spot to do stuff. And especially with this COVID thing and having these kids during the day, it allowed that. We couldn't have done this at the other facility because it was in the cafeteria.
So far this fall, around 60 club members have been attending each day, with room for more. Upstairs, 2 teen center rooms, and downstairs a new games room and STEM classroom, complete with whiteboard tables for easy cleanup. Program manager Renee Heisler says it's a whole new vibe in the clubhouse.
They absolutely love it. Every day something's changing and they will notice, and this makes their day. Their eyes brighten up. It's just awesome to see. It's definitely a lot safer for the kids that do like self-checkout and things like that. They don't have to walk a lot further in the dark, especially in these winter months.
It's all been a very welcome change from the silence and emptiness of the past spring and summer. In Lockwood, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
Thanks, Jay. And as you may know, Jay serves on the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors. He tells us the Lockwood Clubhouse model of utilizing existing school space for club use is being replicated at other Boys and Girls Clubs and schools all across the country. Head on the MTN News at 10 here on the CW. The cost of housing in some Montana counties continuing to soar. We're going to take you to one part of the state where the average price is now over $500,000. And there's a good chance you could be waking up to a little bit of snow in the morning. Bob will tell you what to expect coming up next in the